Greetings guys, this is Blaze Rich, hope you guys are all doing well. Today I figured we'd do another Hookbill video. Now, we've done a couple of Hookbill videos at this point. We've done the TD one and just a straight up buffer one that does a lot of DPS. I don't think I've done the medium anti, small anti Hookbill, which is also quite common. But I've never had too much experience with that, not to say it's not a good frigate. But I find that this Hookbill's been treating me far better. And it's similar, right? Like you've got the buffer and the small anti as opposed to the medium anti and the small anti, which is really nice. I feel that the reason that this is better than that variant is because that buffer helps you to like sort of maneuver to where you want to be, and the small anti keeps you alive, right? With like the medium anti, small anti one, I found that was just like things were just like alpha through you before you got your reps off, or just because of the medium anti requires so much CPU, you can fit like dual T2 webs, or I think it was like dual T1 webs you had to do, maybe like a compact scram or something like that, but CPU is very tight and that fits just because of the medium anti. With this, we don't have a ballistic control, and we're using like the medium shield extender, so it's not requiring too much CPU, which is sweet. We're also using a little bit extra space with this Hookbill, not what we're usually using the faction frigates, but no, thought I'd treat myself, get some implants for this little Hookbill, and see how they went. The CPU for this fit is required. You can easily downgrade, say, like the DCU to maybe a compact and maybe one of the webs if you really don't want to use implants. All the rest of these are just for convenience, right? You don't need the hull, the extra shield, the extra damage. But I would also recommend using Exile and like a agency drug of your choice. I use Paralantia. You can maybe use Overclocker for extra speed. I wouldn't recommend using Hard Shell. That's probably one you'd use in like the medium anti, small anti one, but unless we're just a Vector small anti, it's not really worthwhile. Now, this Hookbill can fight like loads of things, man. Like any faction frigate, you should be good to fight. The only one I'd be worried about is maybe like warping into a slicer and already established in a plex. You can perhaps force them off, because like Javelin's still hitting out to 22k, which is really nice to like force off kiters if you really require it. But generally that's like, you're in a bad position, right? You're just going to force them off, or you're going to lose, right? If they play it very well, so don't do that. But every other faction frigate you should be able to outplay it in some way, just because the dual T2 webs and the T2 AB, that is so nice, man. Also having that T2 scram along with this fit, and a T2 DCU. This isn't usually a thing that you can do with Hookbills, just because they're so, you know, what's it called, handicapped because of their CPU, but I guess that 5% CPU is treating us very well. So I think I've covered most that we'll be covering on this Hookbill, so yeah, let's get on to the fights, guys. Okay, here I have a fight against two destroyers. First of which, you know, Courser. Coursers can also always be very spicy. A lot of incoming DPS, and I believe this guy was either AB web or dual web pulses, which is very rough, man. Like a beam one this close, you should be perfectly fine. Against my pulse one with a web's a bit scary, man. You'll see the amount of incoming DPS coming in, it's really scary. You can potentially warp off in this fight, but if I start to warp off now, I think I would have died. Supposed to keep on orbiting, but do know most Coursers are only going to be AB web or dual web, so you can potentially warp off if it's not a fight you want to take. But you'll see how close it is. We do eventually take out the win, but it was a very close one. I always expect a rough one from Coursers. This next one's going to be a Cormorant. Cormorants are very scary, especially blaster ones. With null, they're heading out to 11k. It's also a very scary fight for this Cormorant. If we were a TD Hookbill, and we just optimal range drop this guy and just kept our orb out far, this would be an easy win for us. But since we don't have a TD in this one, what we need to do is I orbit initially at 8k, hoping that he's maybe using Void or Anti. I then take my orb out to 10k. I see that he's still getting good hits, so I just double click away from him and hope that he's just like going to continue following. So we get out as far in null range, and we can potentially win. Okay, here we have some fights against faction versus faction frigate, just to show you how it works. This is a dual web blaster one. I always keep at 8k if I'm already established in the plex, see what's up. It's a lot easier to get in close to, say, a rail one, as opposed to, like, say, like, starting your orbit at, like, 500, getting close to that blaster one's really rough. But you see, because we keep at 8k, this comet is slightly faster than us. It should be anyway with an AB dual web blaster comet like this, because they're so fast. But the time it takes him to get into range, it seems like I'm actually, yeah, nice, gaining slowly. We end up killing him just because the dual webs and the T2AB were still going quite fast yourself. which is really nice. To like but if we like warped into this comet, it'd basically be just like warp off. Always be aware of that. Like once you're fighting the blaster comets, if you see two webs or no scram, you're usually best served warping off because those comets are really hard to beat if you warp into them. When we take this fight, since we've got the, we were starting inside. This is the real comet. You'll see that oh god, you see that I start my keep at 8k, expecting to be blasters. It isn't. I see rails. So what we're going to do is we're going to orbit 500, get underneath the rails, and chill. I didn't mention this also, but see, once your shield buffer's gone, offline your medium shield extender. That'll reduce your sig, right? I think it's like 5 whatever. But yeah, reduces your sig and increases your sig tank, so we're more likely to get underneath this gentleman's guns. So you see, even though we're pretty much underneath his guns now, the small ANSI's doing work. Yeah, it's looking very bleak for a friend here. Just be wary of your cap management, especially if you get, like, say, a bad roll in your XL and get cap penalty. So just keep an eye on this, and GF those two. Okay, here we have a fight against an R8 Web Firetail. Basically, when trying to get up from the guns of this frigate somewhat, you go orbit 500, or I break and basically just like double click in spaces in our way. Cause usually Firetails, if you just like start orbit on them, they can pull range from you, and they can apply quite well. For whatever reason, this virtual Firetail, can pull from us, or we're just doing really well at getting armed with these guns. I don't know whether they didn't overheat his AB, or maybe just our dual T2 webs and this Hookbill were doing work. So it's like no bother to get under this guy's guns, and we're applying perfectly. Hookbills are awesome, man. I love Hookbills. But yes, GF to this Firetail. Secondly, we're up against this Vigil Fleet. What I do is I just ram Vigil Fleets. What the Vigil Fleet's objective to do is usually if it's like, especially like a dual web long point one like this, is get out of your rage range and maybe use Faction or Javelin and force you to switch missiles. That 10-second reload's like very rough, man. That usually like makes the Vigil Fleet win, especially if you take a long time to change your ammos. But in a brawl like this, the Hookbill should win most of the time, right? But yeah. And you also see that some E-War from this gentleman falls off us. That's another issue with the Vigil Fleet, is his cap's really rough, especially with like the long point variant. But that long point variant is so good, man. The dual web long point Vigils like used to be one of my staples. But now I believe the Hookbill is taking the #1 spot in terms of frigates for me. But that's what I expect the Vigil Fleet fight to go. Warping into one can be very rough. This is just a bit more of an interesting Vigil Fleet here. It is, I believe, a dual web scram one, so it isn't hurting too much for capacitor, but god damn, someone can tank well, huh? I think this gentleman might have more spice than I'm using with our Hookbill. But yeah, this is, I don't think I was going to win this fight in any form. Maybe if we used Nova Rage, maybe we could have, like, I don't know, like, don't know, made some work for his tank, but now I was using Scourge Rage against this gentleman, and I don't think I was going to break him regardless of what I used. But nevertheless, it was still a good fight for sure. Okay, here we have a fight against Dramiel. Dramiel's, like, I ran this guy to start thinking I might be like a long point one, because that is a thing. MWD RD or AB RD. So just be careful of that. Once I notice his autos, we keep our orbit 7k. Just get somewhat far fall off. But the single small ANSI, like, I think it's a dual prop one or dual web one or something, but if a Dramiel just have this single small ANSI, it's so easy to kill. It's a shame, but if this was like a dual rep one, maybe a weird shield buffer one, it may have posed a better threat is, but unfortunately, since he's just one armor repper, he's having a very hard time here. But yeah, GF Drama. Okay, here we have a fight against two AFs, first of which being Ennio. Ennio's blaster threat are usually quite easy to take on. It really relies on how quickly they're going to switch to null. So I believe that Ennio can hit out about 10k with null. I think it's like a 9.5k fall off or something like that, so they'll still get an occasional like little grazing hits. I start my orbit at 5k, and then basically just hoping to stick with Void and Anti. And this guy does stick with Void for a very long time. If he switched to null a lot sooner, this would have been a much spookier fight. So you'll see once he switched to null in this fight, once he's like in hull, he applies a lot of damage, man. So it's very unfortunate that it took him so long to load null. He would have had fared a far better chance. Here's null now. You'll see how much DPS he's applying. I should have maybe pulled our orbit, which I do. We keep our orbit out to 7.5k. If I really wanted, we could have overheated our scram pulled out further. This is a Harpy. This is a much harder fight. So this guy knows what he's doing, and he starts with null from the get-go. I have Molnir Rage loaded, because I'm expecting like some form of EM hole here. And basically, I'm going to orbit 8k. I make a lot of mistakes in this fight, more so with my heat management, right? But I turn my orbit into 10k. I am going to lose my scram webs without overheating, but I just need to get out and far null range. Overheat stuff. And just try and keep in far fall off here and try and like make sure I don't lose this guy. But I do end up, I believe, burning out the AP the web, which is very rough for us. I don't think this guy had an assault damage control either. So had he had that, this would have been, I don't know how the outcome of this fight would have went. But you'll see, thankfully I have the 2 webs left, so we can still apply well, which is good, because I really need that. So you can see this fight's going to be like down to the wire, but we take it. Just a quick little fight. This Tristan comes in. I always expect these to be newt fit, so I always keep a orbit 7.5k, just expecting to be newts. So if they're T2 newts, we'll be able to slightly reach out here, in which case we'll keep our orbit to 8k. The thing is, with T1 webs, you shouldn't reach out that far and you'll be totally fine. It's a pretty easy kill for you. But a Tormentor also ends up coming into this fight, which is really nice. It sort of shows cases, right? Like we have the medium, the buffer, and the small ANSI, so we can like do 2 frigates like this very easily. Individually these frigates are very easy to fight. I believe this Tristan's like a weird like actual dual rep one, so he actually does quite well tanking us for a bit with a newt, which is a very interesting little fit he has going on. So yeah, I'm surprised how well he was able to actually tank our Hookbill. But the Tormentor comes in at this point, I'm like, alright, sick. Because we have the, like, we've not used any small ANSI charges here. We do have our buffer gone, and I should maybe offline the medium shield extender. But I see a scram here, and I'm like, easy. I believe this guy does have a web, but he didn't apply it to me. But if he had like a scram web, we'd be able to get him with his guns regardless, and we take him. So GF, boys. Okay, and to end it off, we've got a little bit of feeding by itself. Okay, so this is a Merlin Atron pair. What my idea was to, like, because I knew that Atron's going to be real, so I wanted to ram that Atron, get rid of his guns, and nuke him. This wasn't the smart play. And he plays it like a champ here. I don't know if this was actually, like, a strategy he was going for here, or just, like, coincidence. But I'm doing, like, a lot of DPS to this Atron, right? I'm using Rage here. Our range is 12k. I get him really low. And then he ends up pulling range, at which point the Merlin's like right on top of us. What I should have done is probably dual web the Merlin, get out for range, and then I don't know. This is the second round. I basically do what I was said there. We're gonna orbit this Merlin out far with the dual webs. I should have primed the Merlin. I don't know what my thought process was with this, but I just want to get out of the range of the Merlin and shoot the Atron. I don't know if this wasn't a smart play. Had I loaded Scourge Rage, shot that Merlin, so I was expecting that Merlin to be buffer fit, like sort of flea fit, right? As you probably would expect. But it's a dual web small ANSI one. And you'll see how quickly, once I start shooting him here, he's going down very quickly. And I'm like, God damn it! What we should have done is like kill the Merlin, then dual web the Atron, getting off his guns, or try and disengage if he played it well for the long point. So this was like a really bad plays by myself. But it's still like a really good bounce, man. We learned a bit from it, you know. If we're learning, we're not necessarily losing, even though we're feeding. We did take the barrel with us. But, yeah, GF, gentlemen. I think we could have played that better. But, meh. I did what it is. Well then, guys. That is us come to the end of another video. I did have good fun with this Hookbill, and I think it's going to be my staple Hookbill now. I used to run just, like, the medium shield extender, like, and the ballistic control on the low, which is really nice. The thing is, the Hookbill is super easy to fly, and you can engage a lot of stuff with it. I'd probably rank it the second most powerful faction frigate, right? Comet being first. And I don't know, like maybe the official fleet third. I don't know what comes third. But yeah, I'd probably say the Hookbill's pretty high up there in tier in terms of faction frigates, man. Especially this version, like it has like the boosters are adding to it, right? But I think without the boosters, we'd probably get about 7.2k EHP, which is cool, because I want to try and get like the same kind of EHP as a Comet with an active tank. And we're getting that. We have less... We basically have the same tank as, say, DPS. It's a real one, sorry. Not Blaster. Blaster one's still pretty crazy. But the dual webs and Scram is just so nice, man. Hookbills are insane. And they're really cheap at the moment, so get your Hookbills, your Osprey Navies, your Drake Navies, whilst they're cheap. Whilst the Qatari Militia are doing their weird mission farming and all this. God, I think they're like under like 8 mil now, which is crazy for a faction frigate. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed this, boys. Thank you so much for watching, spending your time watching my video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'll try and get another video out for next week if I'm not lazy. You know, I'm bad at this. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, guys. And I will, yeah, hopefully catch you guys next week.